Hi, babe. Welcome to the Horror Babe Show. I'm your host, Chelsea Beller, and this week's guest is Katy Hansen. Katy and I have known of each other a while, and we recently officially met. She came over for Halloween. We started talking about horror movies, and we just couldn't stop. I told her she has to be on the show, so here she is. We talk about so many horror movies. I lost track. And we talk about her beginnings reading Stephen King novels under the covers when she probably wasn't supposed to or shouldn't have, to now attending Hollywood horror premieres. So sink your teeth into this week's part 1 of 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Horror Babe Show. I'm your host, Chelsea Beller, and today's guest is Katy Hansen.
Hello.
Hi, Katy.
Hi. It's nice to see. I was looking at each camera just in case.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi. Hi. Hi.
Katy and I have a convoluted way of knowing each other. Essentially, we know each other through my boyfriend, Mike, who's right there. So Mike knows Adam Zeller. We know him from AVP Galaxy. And Adam's girlfriend, Natasha, is Katy's sister.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is the lineage.
Sorry, I'm still getting over my cold, which is fine.
I would also like to note that I don't have a cold, but have phlegm, which is great from allergies. So there will be a lot of apologies for both of our throat clearing.
So much fun.
Or if I talk too much, it might sound like I am going to cry or something or getting choked up, and now it's just phlegm. Just phlegm.
It's just phlegm.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know what's great for podcasting is phlegm. Yeah.
You know what's great? Just generally, especially when it's great when you go to a movie theater too and you're around a bunch of people and you feel like you have to be like, I'm not sick. It's just allergies, and I feel like I am just an insane person. And then someone will cough near me and I'm like, oh, I hope they're not sick. And I'm like, oh my God, I am the problem.
I am the problem. Katy.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
What do you do? Why don't you tell the people, me later, what... I pretend I'm really the only one watching this. Why don't you tell us?
Sorry.
I have the giggles. I can't stop. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get into horror?
Yeah. I have been working in entertainment for a few years now, quite a few years. The amount of years that it takes for you to be desensitized and all your hopes and dreams have kind of been ruined. But yeah, so currently I am making memes for
professional meme maker.
Professional meme maker for Amazon Freebie, for social media sort of stuff. So it's great because I have an excuse to be on social media all the time, even though it's never really for work. It's for fun because it's, but it's great. It's really fun and it's creative, but I've worked in development before and talent management and everything. And I've always wanted to work in entertainment. And a big reason of that is because of my love for horror, because that's one of the earliest kind of films and genres I remember watching as a kid and really enjoying. And it really started because my grandma on my mom's side had HBO and just every cool TV station when I was younger.
Yeah.
So when I was below 10 or whatever, I would watch things I wasn't supposed to watch, including I remember watching Halloween 1 and 2, the originals. Nice. And I don't know if I ever saw 3 because it wasn't Michael Myers, but then I remember 4 and 5 and 6, watching those two, specifically the little girl in the clown costume,
right?
And then the one with Paul Rudd too, like, and then when Halloween H2O came out, that was like the biggest thing of my life.
Because Jamie's back in that.
Yeah, because Jamie's back, and
it's like
like
a whole thing.
and it was like 2000, so it was like new horror. It was like the time that I was growing up in, and it was like scarier than everything else because it was like, it seemed like so much more real because like the others had come out in like the 70s or like the early 90s, and so this was like, I was like, oh my god, are they really getting killed? And like and it's funny because I watched it recently and I was like, wow, that Michael Myers mask looks like terrible, like it looks like they like and it was just funny to me because I was like, it really did, but he always scared me. But yeah, I always loved horror films and like going to haunted houses and stuff, or like going to like Halloween Horror Nights like later in life, even though it like scared the heck out of me. But yeah, it's kind of like shaped me who I am. And oh, it's funny, I'm looking at your bookshelf too, and also I grew up reading Stephen King because my mom was like, sure, read this book when you're 11 years old, which is a true story. I did a book report on it when I was in
were you scarred?
No, I just like, it was just another day of like, because it was like, yeah, it was just like, I was like, this is just a genre I like and I'm used to it and stuff. And awesome. There was some weird stuff that definitely happened in it, but yeah, I remember being in middle school and reading it because we had to read like 1,000 pages or something, and I was like, I'll just read this book, just one big book instead of multiple books. It was funny.
There you go.
But anyway, yeah, that's my long-winded explanation for how horror has started, and it continues to grow.
Yeah. What would you say? You said Halloween 1 and 2 were like maybe the first two.
Yeah.
Were those kind of what you think like set you on the horror path, those movies?
Yeah, definitely. Like, and the thing of it being like yeah, like, I don't know how to say it, but it was like different because it wasn't just like gore or anything. It wasn't just like, because it is considered like a slasher film,
right,
but it was something that was still like so spooky to me, and almost like, because those, like, even though like he falls off the roof and it's like, how could he have survived that, but it's like even that was still like in some sort of like, it still seemed like it could happen, it could be real, and I think that's what was like the scariest thing to me, where it's like seeing like Friday the 13th, or like, because my parents were like, here, watch these ones too, and I was like, okay, or like, what was it, Nightmare on Elm Street, like I was like, okay, this is less believable, this is, for some reason that was less believable to me, even though like the first Friday the 13th is much more believable because it's like pre-Jason, but yeah, it's like what kind of set that off, because I feel like my love now is stuff that I'm like, oh, this has like real heart and humanity, and like it scares me the most is something that seems more realistic, because real life is scarier than any horror movie.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Rigby, there you go.
Hello, surprise guest.
Surprise guest. We'll ask him a few questions too. Why is the vacuum so scary?
Yeah. Is that your horror movie?
Yeah.
Oh, for my cat, apparently, I've been watching like this show where it's like obviously like insert like, well, for anything, they like insert like a doorbell sound whenever anyone's at the door. And every time my cat is like, oh, like she thinks it's like someone and it's funny because it's like, I don't think our doorbell has been rung like more than like twice since I've lived there in like 5 years, but still she, for whatever reason, is like, this is the end. Like, this is it, the doorbell. Yeah, like someone's here to get me, the cat, because Kiki's the main character. Kiki's the final girl.
Kiki. Oh.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You keep petting him. He likes it.
Don't pet the cat.
Don't pet the cat.
It's like there's a little sign on him. Please do not pet the cat.
Oh yeah. Do you want to be in the horror making business?
Honestly, I realize after having my spirit broken by entertainment so often, this makes it sound so bad, but it's just, it was funny. Even a good side note is I saw Eli Roth do do a Q&A for his new movie Thanksgiving, and he was talking about all these new actors that he was using in the film, and he was like, it was so great because they're just so happy to be there and they just want to be on set, and he's like, they haven't been like yeah, what's the word when it's like when you like well, like your spirit has been broken or whatever.
Jaded.
Jaded. Yeah, he was like,
So
they're not
jaded.
jaded yet. And I just love that because like even Eli Roth, who's like very successful in like the horror industry, is like still like, yeah, like everyone, no matter where you're at, like gets jaded by this. And
It's
I thought
true.
I thought that was so sweet because like it is something where I'm like, I think after working in so many different facets of the industry, I was like, what do I really want to do? And like one thing, for example, is I haven't worked in like horror or like even like honestly read scripts for it or like developed anything for it. I'm trying to like think about like
Right.
what, but it's like, yeah, because like that's not particularly like popular like horror shows. But you know, blessings all to Mike Flanagan because like after I discovered him, after seeing his movie Ouija Origin of Evil, which I was like, how is this so good? And then seeing Oculus, and then of course when he came out with Haunting of Hill House, I was like, this
So
is
good.
how you do horror, like this
Yeah.
is how you do TV.
Yeah.
And you know, Bly Manor, and then what was the other one? Midnight Mass,
yes.
and like he just has this great way of doing it, and I would like, and of course this is like what anyone would say, where it's like, of course, like I would work on any horror movie, but I was like, if I could work with like the master Mike Flanagan, like
Oh,
that
for
would be like the
sure.
dream. But another thing that like really inspired me too was seeing Terrifier 2, and actually watching the behind the scenes and how little they made that movie for, and like just how
Okay.
everyone, like director, producers, were just like multitasking because that's what you do on like a small feature.
Right.
And I was like, even that, like I would just love to do. Like I think we like tend to be like, oh, if I do something, I want it to like be the best, and I'm like, oh
Sure.
no, like I mean like of course, like, or be like the biggest thing or whatever, and it's like,
Right.
no, you can just start, like it's so easy to just start from the bottom, like start from like wherever, or like
Yeah.
the bottom, or like, and just do it because like I don't know, it's just
Yeah,
like
start
do
from
whatever,
where you're
just
at.
yeah, like I think there's like, I feel like we all do that like in some way, where it's like, oh, if I like write this script, or if it's
Yeah.
like if I draw this picture, or if I take a picture, like it has to be perfect the first time.
Right.
Or at least that's what I do. I've always been an instant gratification sort of kid. um, but yeah, it's just something where it's like, no, just like if you like what you do, just like do anything. Like there's no, I think that's what I like started learning, is like just, you know, no job is too small. Like it's just, you know, we're all working together to make something. And it's like,
Yeah.
even Adam Zeller, who you mentioned, he's been working on like a horror feature and like some horror
Yeah.
projects, and I just love seeing that too, because I'm just like, wait, why am I not doing that? Like I was like, I'm also in Los Angeles, and like and I'm just like, how am I not, like, why am I not just doing all of like there's plenty of people. I would like work
That's
for
true.
free, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Like I was like, I don't care, just put me in there so I can like be involved with it.
Yeah.
But I think they're, yeah, just becoming jaded from like other jobs, like not involved with that, has like been hard. And I'm like, wait, why don't I just do what I like?
Right.
You know?
I
think that's
know.
funny, is like, you know, those like like those dumb you know, social media things that are like, if you're seeing this, you were meant to, or like whatever. But I
yeah.
saw one that was like, what is the one thing holding you back? And I was like, myself. And I was like, it's so true, because I'm like even telling you earlier, I was like, I was sleeping all day, and it's like, why aren't you just go and do anything, like just watch more horror movies, like
Sure.
get more, like rewatch Terrifier 2, like
Right.
like watch all this stuff, like watch bad movies, because like I think that's funny, is watching like quote unquote, oh yeah, I'm like quote unquote bad movies. I'm just
Yeah.
like, even that, it's like people work their butts off to like make this stuff, like it doesn't,
Yeah.
like we're all just trying to do the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
It, you know, it goes back, there's like a PTA quote where he was like, don't say, like, if you're like talking bad about movies, it won't allow people to make like movies anymore. It's like we should all be supporting each other, and it's so true. Like
Yeah.
just, you know, just brought in. Anyway, that was like a long rant.
No, I love
And
it.
yes, I would love to work in horror, but at this
Yeah.
point, I would love to have any kind of job in like film specifically,
Yeah.
because it's just, yeah, it just to see what's working. But yeah, horror is definitely like in my blood,
Yeah.
runs in my blood.
Runs in my blood, in my veins.
Also, I just saw this Gremlin toy over there, and I was like, oh yeah, and the Gremlins were like a big like influence on me
Oh,
too, like
yeah.
especially Gremlins too. But I don't even think that's not a horror movie. That's just like a good movie. It's just like a classic.
It really is.
It's playing at the New Bev next month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
So I'm gonna go see it.
I was recently asked this question by a coworker. Is Gremlins for you a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
I think it can be both.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite thing about movies is like it's all what we derive from it. Like it's like there's no thing that's like right, you know, or
Yeah.
wrong, or no, like there's no thing that's wrong because like it's all just relative to like what we see and like what we take from the movie.
Totally.
So like for me, I'm like, oh no, it's definitely like Christmassy, but it's like Christmassy horror.
Right.
And it's funny, just I don't know, like it was just funny because I just went to this, but even Eli Roth was mentioning that where he was like, you know, we have like Christmas horror, we have like different horror movies on like different holidays, but he's like, but we never had like a Thanksgiving horror.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny too, as I was like, yeah, the blending of like genres is like super fun too. And I love that, like, you know, Gremlins does that, or like Die Hard does that with like action, and like, but there's a big debate with that one where it's like, is it a Christmas movie?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I feel like it is, but if someone says it's not for them, like, sure, like that's also valid. Like, I'm not gonna be like, no, you're wrong. It is.
You're wrong.
Like, which I know that people like do get, and I'm just like do get that way, but I'm just like, no, it's like, yeah, but for me, it's definitely a Christmas movie.
Did you know Mogwai is based on a real, like, Chinese mythology?
No.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
I know.
Because of like where Gizmo was like found too, like with the little like shop that he was like bought in, so he was like a real thing. Oh god, that was so sad in the second movie where like the guy, like his owner or whatever, like passes away and they're like tearing down the poor Gizmo, dude. He went through it.
He went through a lot.
Do you know a lot about the mythology of it though, or?
No, not really. I just I was looking up mythology, like, facts for work. That's something I do for my job, is
That's
I look
fun,
up
though.
fun facts.
Yeah.
And I saw Mogwai, or it may have been spelt differently or something, and I was like Gizmo?
Yeah,
and
like...
I clicked on it and I briefly read it, but yeah, I don't remember what the specifics were. I don't think it was really, you know, don't keep them up past midnight, don't get them wet, don't get them in the sunlight.
Yeah.
But maybe there was some...
There's, like, maybe some truth that they pulled and, like, modernized that in a way.
Yeah.
But they have that show, too, now.
The show is really good.
Is it, like, based on any of that at all, or is it, like, just Mogwai's, like, having fun?
The show actually pulls from other Chinese mythology, which is really cool.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Because I was looking up another thing, and of course I can't remember what it was called, but I was like, wait, that sounds like a character from that Mogwai show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, and I was like, oh, I think these, like, villainous characters are based on actual, like, Chinese folklore.
Oh, that's
and they
cool.
are, and I love that. I love stuff that's, like, kind of based in fact, at least loosely.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, based on, like, something. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah,
it's really neat. Currently, what is your favorite horror film?
Yeah, currently my favorite one is Oculus by Mike Flanagan. Because I think it is, like, this, like, one of the scariest things that I've seen. Like, and I saw it also before Haunting of Hill House, which I think that might be, like, one of the scariest things, too. Like, but there's, like, kind of similarities and, like, going back and forth between, like, past and present. But I think that was so good, is, like, seeing, like, the trauma and, like, trying to, like, figure out, you're like, is, like, what is this all in their heads? Like, and then you start to realize there was something with the mirror, and, like, it was just so interesting to me, and it had such an impact on me. And, like, I love watching it and showing it to people and everything. And I think, like, the best one that I've seen, like, the best horror movie I've seen, like, recently was Terrifier 2. But it's funny because, like, it's almost, like, not even horror to me. Like, I was like, it's just more, like, sci-fi dark comedy, like, sort of thing. Yeah. But, like, I get it. It is a horror film, like, at the end of the day. But it was just, like, I just enjoyed it so much. And, like, I love a good, like, silent clown, like, basically, which, like, goes back to, like, just, like Harpo Marx, or, like, you know, or just, like, silent air, like, and it's just something where it's, like, I love the expressions that, like, you know, Art the Clown is able to show without, like, having to say anything. But I thought that was just, I think it was, like, because we all are kind of fatigued from, like, what the industry is doing, and, like, just kind of just just throwing out anything and not really like developing it correctly. And so seeing like Terrifier 2, I was like, oh, this is like different than anything, and it's like taking risks, and it's just unapologetically just like disgusting and like fun and weird, and it didn't like, it wasn't part of a structure, and like I appreciated that part of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've not seen those movies yet, but I keep wanting to.
Yeah.
Because I've always had this deep-rooted fear of clowns.
Yeah.
And I just want to get over it. And I finally watched it, chapter 2, like last year, the year before. And I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I think I'm fine.
Yeah.
But art, every time I see stills or anything, I'm just like, oh, God.
Yeah. There was like a still of him in like the first one that I saw, and I was like, that is the scariest thing I've ever seen, because he was like smiling, and I was like, ooh, and he wasn't like doing anything particular, he was just a creepy clown. But also the creepiest clowns, in my opinion, are the ones that don't look creepy, that are just normal clowns, like kind of like Tim Curry's like It, the one from the 90s or maybe the 80s, I forget, but like
I think it was 90s.
Yeah, I felt like that miniseries or TV movie, I forget what it was at the time, but like that scared me because he looked like a normal clown who like changed, but then like the modern It, which was also fantastic. Yeah. And Bill Skarsgård did such a good job, but really like I was like, well, he looks like a creepy clown. Like obviously you wouldn't like approach him, but I like the approachability of like the Tim Curry It, because I was like, no, that's scary.
Right, because it's almost like, oh, I maybe could trust him.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah. But like, seeing Art the Clown, who has like black teeth, you're like, that's not...
I'm going to walk the other way.
And that's like a human thing too. It's like, isn't that like an old thing? Like if someone doesn't have like great teeth, you're like kind of like thrown off by them, because you're like, oh, this is untrustworthy. So So already, you know, Art the Clown is a clown, but then not having great teeth, I mean.
Yeah. Makes it way worse.
I'm just saying that now, I'm like, wow, that's really insightful, Katie. Great job.
Insightful and insulting.
And insulting to just the, you know, just clowns. And Art, you know, he's just trying his best to be like a murdery entity, you know. Yeah. It's not his fault. Or maybe it is, I don't know.
I feel like I read something like a scene from Terrifier 1 or 2 was like too gory or something, and I feel like it wasn't shown in theaters, or there was something about it that it was so sinister.
There were quite a few parts. I mean, there is some practical effects that they use in that. I'm sure it's like that scene, but it's like, I was just fascinated by it because I was like, oh, they use practical effects that look so good, because like, but also for me, like the way that they do it, like it doesn't look very real, and it's like not campy, but it's just like, it didn't affect me as much. So it's funny because I'm like, I don't know, it's probably this scene, but I'm just like, I don't know, I've again become desensitized to that sort of thing, where it's like I can imagine someone watching this and being like disgusted by it. But I think what's funny too about it is like, it is so terrifying, and like the buildup is so scary, but then when you get to it, they throw in comedic elements, and I'm just like, how are they like, it's brilliant, like because I'm just like, because Art is just like a psycho, and like, but it's, I think that's what was like kind of toned it down for me. I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. Like, look, he's making it funny, like, you know. But yeah, it is disgusting. Like there are like times where I could imagine someone watching that, you know, like same with like the Saw movies or something. But in my opinion, you know, with like Saw, for example, like I'm just like, I don't feel like it's any more disgusting than what those movies have done, which have done pretty, I mean, what, they have 10 of them, 11 of them or something, like 10?
I think they just had 10.
Yeah, Saw 10 or something. Yeah. But I don't know if Spiral was included in that.
Oh, yeah.
If that was, I don't know. I'll have to Google that one. But yeah, it's like, so I was just like, oh, maybe it was just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just funny because I was like, I don't know. I've seen them do some pretty disgusting stuff on that, but maybe it just looked too realistic, I think, because of practical effects. Maybe, like where Saw might be a little bit more, I feel like some of the blood and gore was definitely computer generated and stuff, which still is excellent, but you know, it's helpful to be like, this doesn't look, you know, this is less real. Oh, yeah. Love it.
Do you like the Saw movies?
I do. I mean, the first one was one of my favorite movies. I did like a monologue for it in high school where like Adam like admits to like Lawrence.
Right.
I don't know how I pulled those names out of me. Like I was like, I really love those, but
your memory today is fantastic.
This is a once in a lifetime.
You remember where my dad lives?
Yeah, it's that, and then the names of the lead characters in Saw.
Yeah.
Watch, we look back and it's like their names are completely different. But no, it's like there's a moment where he's like, I've been taking pictures of you and you're like cheating on your wife or something, and I was like, I want to do this, and I remember I was so nervous that someone else in like my high school class was gonna do this monologue from Saw, and like someone had like a wig, I remember, and it was like that looks like Adam's hair, like maybe it was so niche. But I love the first Saw movie. I love Lee Winnell and James Wan and like what they were able to make, and like you know, with like The Conjuring and what was I really like the other ones that they made that also has that really hot guy in it. You know, the hot guy.
Yeah, the hot guy.
Because he was in The Conjuring and then he was in Insidious.
Oh, yes. Insidious,
yeah.
yes.
And Insidious was, I really like the Insidiouses with, that followed like the path of like, why can't I remember this hot actor's name? But like, I like Patrick Wilson. Oh, God. And he can great. Sing.
He can?
Yes. It's upsetting. He sings
it's upsetting.
So well. And I'm just like, come on. You can't have it all, man. But yeah, I love what they've been able to do with horror too, because they've like really kind of changed the game. And Lee Winnell's really Invisible Man, like I love the classic Invisible Man. He's actually the background on my phone right now. But like I loved his rendition of it because it was so terrifying, like what happened in that movie, because it was like it could be like very realistic and everything. And I loved his look of it and like his writing and everything, and it's they've done so much, Lee and James, like it's been great. And that first Saw really made an impression on me too, and like that twist and everything, I was like, I know, like who would have and I remember I loved it because of that, and the music too. I forget, Charlie Clouser or something is the guy, like that was just the best. That do like so creepy. I just fell fully into that when that came out. I was pretty obsessed with Saw. Nice. I think I have like 4 copies of it because it was it was like DVD and then special edition DVD and then Blu-ray and then like a pack of them or whatever. And like, I really like that one.
I tried getting through Saw 2, and I don't know if I was just like distracted at the time, but I just couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
But Saw 1 was great, and I would want to give Saw 2 another chance. And I was told that Saw 10, you don't necessarily have to see the first 9 or whatever.
I think it takes place in between the first and second film, technically. Yeah. Okay. I could be wrong about that, but I also love that the actor who plays Jigsaw, like it's funny, like he was just on the floor, in the first movie, and sorry, spoilers, if you haven't seen it, but that actor also having this huge career from like this film series too, and like Saw 10 and how big that has, that's done super well this year too, which is amazing and great. And just how cool that is for him too, where he was just like hardly even in it, and then like I think he died in the, sorry, spoilers, he dies at one point, but they always found ways to like bring his character back because people love Jigsaw, man. They love Tobin Bell, so just like, it's funny because he is like a very kind looking and like sounding gentleman who just tortures people who are bad in a way.
They do bad things.
They do bad things. But have a chance to redeem themselves, which is why he gained so many like followers or apprentices throughout the series. I think I've only seen like the first 4. I feel like I kind of lost the thread of it at one point, but I need to definitely watch them all just for fun. Why not?
Why not?
I have time.
Just spend a day
watching all of them and being like, oh,
back to back to back to back.
Yeah, I need like American Cinematheque or the New Bev to have like a Saw marathon of just all 10 movies. God.
I'm just all like, day.
Not even hungry. Or maybe I'll be hungry. Maybe that'll happen. But
it can be hard to be hungry during those movies.
Yeah. Just like drinking like a red Slurpee and being like, eating soup.
Something about this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Horror Babe Show with your host, Chelsea Beller. Stay tuned for part 2 of 2, in 2 weeks. Until then, make sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. And happy holidays. Travel safely. Bye, babe.